All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Eric Hunting from Parts Unknown. We're trying something completely different. We're calling this one Sitting Front Row.
Oh, that's a good name.
With Upgrade J. Tunis.
With the upgrade, J. Tunis now.
Oh.
It's J. Tunis.
J.
Tunis, like URL.
Oh, my goodness.
My full legal name is actually https://www.j.tunis.org. It's a nonprofit.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. How you doing?
Well, I mean, so sitting front row.
Front row, like our private table, VIP section here. This is great.
This is great. We're completely giving a shout out to Quabbin Woods for letting us use their dining area after hours.
Drag me into the middle of woods into a little cabin. We're by ourselves in here.
Yeah, we are.
This is an entire diner. We're in here by ourselves, and there's like no traffic or anything. I think he's gonna kill me.
It could happen. We don't know.
Like, I was driving here. I had no bars, nothing. I don't know. It's kind of sketchy, but like we're rolling.
We call it Parts Unknown for a reason.
Ooh, this is Parts Unknown. We're in Parts Unknown right now. Let's go.
So, I say we start right from the beginning.
Yeah.
First time I met you was 2018. You were ringing the bell next to Johnny Idol at the sound booth at the waterfront.
That venue holds a little bit of a special place for me.
Yeah?
That was really when I first started like getting like pulled into like the camaraderie of like the locker room. That's around that point in time.
Yep.
So since I was little, I was always helping out with like ring crew and setting up the ring, loading up the truck, and ringing the bell.
Yep.
At that point, I'm 17 now. I'm a teenager, and like
right.
I want to hang out with my brother and his friends. So I'm sneaking out with them, and like they're bringing me in at that point. They're starting to treat me like the little brother.
So you're hanging around with Bacon and
Matthew James, Scotty Wild, my brother, all of them, Sumo and Dex.
You're just absorbing it?
I feel like I've been trying to absorb it forever.
Yeah.
Like, everyone knows there's a magic to wrestling.
Yeah. Yep.
And like, I don't know, I never had that conversation where it was explained to me that the magic of it. I kind of always just knew and grasped that. And I never had that point in the kids. It feels like when kids are like, they get to a certain age, they grow out of wrestling because they start to realize the magic of it.
Yeah.
I never had that problem. So like, I understood it, and like, I felt like I always understood like good guy, bad guy, and storytelling.
Right.
And I loved movies and action and superheroes, and I loved all that stuff growing up. So like, I feel like I was naturally like, I just wanted to soak.
So you didn't necessarily have your brother telling you how things worked. I was
just around him.
Just learned it.
I was just
by absorbing it.
Yeah, I was just around. It just like I sporadically watched wrestling growing up. I wasn't like
the big.
Yeah, like
it's WWE.
Yes. I didn't grow up watching WWE every single week.
Right.
I kind of like watch it sporadically. There are certain periods in my life like I didn't always have cable, so I couldn't always watch it.
Yep.
I can always watch Raw and SmackDown as much as I wanted to. So like my favorite wrestlers and the stuff I grew up watching was the indies around here. You know, EWA and New Age before that changed, and PvP when that was founded. You know, those were my wrestlers growing up.
I get it, and you know what? I mean, you know me as well as a lot of people do. That's where I love the indies, because it's up close and personal. It's really
as close and personal as you can get. So
I mean,
right there with you.
Very first show, we had people in our laps, and we were in the second row.
Yes.
We had Bobby Ocean in our lap.
There was one point.
And we were hooked.
There was a little moment, I remember, I was little. I was sitting front row with my dad, and we were kind of like in the corner there. I don't remember what venue it was. I want to say it was...
Was that Granby?
Hadley.
Oh, Hadley.
Hadley, I want to say. I was little.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting in the corner seat. You know how the seats are set up at most indie shows. It's kind of like built like a square at the front row. And we're sitting like in that corner, and I forget who it was, but it was Jeremy Leary wrestling someone. And they're brawling on the outside like they do because it's a Jeremy Leary match.
Yeah.
And Leary gets thrown fully into my lap. My chair almost comes out from under me like this. And he looks up to me, goes, "Hey, bud," winks at me, turns around, bops whoever he's wrestling. And I'm like...
And you were in.
I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in. You made me feel something. I'm in.
It sucks you in. And
yes.
Like I said, that venue was the first place we saw you ringing the bell. And mainly, and it wasn't even because I saw you. I had given Johnny Idol one of the putz signs that I don't know who made those.
And I just so happened to be sitting next to him.
And he was sitting next to him, and the sign was hung up underneath you.
I love that picture.
And I just saved that picture. Yep. And then a while went by where you were just doing that. You were just doing the bell ringing, and then all of a sudden, pandemic ends. They make their return at the zombie hideout, and you're refereeing.
So...
And that went a couple of different ways, didn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very important night for me in wrestling.
Yeah?
That's kind of like a little bit of a night where everything kind of changed for me.
Is that where the itch got scratched to get in?
The itch has always kind of been there.
Yeah.
I needed something to push me in that direction. Because I always wanted to do it.
Yeah.
But like...
Were you being shown, like, jumping in the ring with anybody, like, after hours or whatever, or before?
Not really.
No?
No, I went down to Test of Strength, their dojo once.
Yeah. Like, pre-pandemic era?
I want to say it was, like, right before the pandemic, or it was, like, right after the pandemic has started, before, like, everything shit really hit the fan, you know?
We didn't see you getting involved in anything other than... seeing you, like I said, bell ringing and stuff like that, until post-pandemic.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say this.
Yeah.
That finish didn't go the way that finish was supposed to go.
I've heard that somewhere.
And
that just
and I may have witnessed something I was not supposed to witness.
Okay.
And in the moment, I didn't know what to do. And Big Brother pointed at me and said, "You count the fucking 3."
Yeah.
Dex and Suma are flying back to Florida. And they came in for one show.
Yep.
So that they can defend the tag belts. And my brother and Bacon were going to try and get the tag belts at any means possible.
Right. They're the closers. Means possible.
They're going to do that. And they saw... that happened, and they went with it. And I remember a little conversation in the back. It was like, well, you're stuck with us now.
Yep.
You're stuck with us. You can't just be a referee now.
Yeah, because now you...
Now I'm kind of being dragged along with them for a little bit as their manager, and that's kind of like when it all sparked for me. I got the performer itch there.
Yep.
You know?
And it was after that, it was when, like you said, you were getting dragged along, and they were using and abusing... And there was always this one woman sitting front row, always telling you to run and save yourself, and get away.
I did, and look what that did for me.
See?
Thank you so much. I'm on top of the world now. Baby.
I'm telling you, and we got to see you grow as you were getting more and more comfortable. You could see it at the beginning, like even as the referee, you were kind of tentative. You were, how much do I give? What, and then all of a sudden,
there was
a switch that got flipped at some point. Is that when you started training?
Not right away. There was a couple shows there where I didn't start training yet.
Yeah.
Do you remember the time my brother hit me with the chair?
Yeah. Yep.
That was the first show we did after I started training.
Okay.
Pretty much, I had just learned how to take a bump properly.
Take a bump, take a chair shot.
Sorry, Tom. But yeah, pretty much, yeah. I learned how to bump, and then it was like, well, hey, if you're going with this, let's get off to the races with this thing.
I mean, we're gonna skip ahead, and we're gonna bounce all over the place. This is.
There's zero structure to here. So I came in here and I'm like, all right, like, where's all the microphones? He's like, I got you this, like, shitty little table and there's no structure. I don't know.
Parts unknown. So, you started training at BioPro.
Yes.
And what is BioPro? What does that acronym mean? It's Beyond Institute?
It's the Beyond Institute of Pro Wrestling.
Yeah. Who's the head trainer there?
The head trainer is Thomas Santel and Brian Wellness. Now,
Thomas Santel being the head trainer there, your family can't do anything different, can they?
No, and
because he was Justin's head trainer originally too, right?
And that was on purpose. campus.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
there's other places to train around here, and that was right at that point. I was really, really getting that itch.
yeah,
And then bio started. And
Yep.
my brother found out Tom was training again. It wasn't for me. It wasn't about Beyond at first, because Beyond this is like his own entity
yeah.
in indie.
Yep.
And like
Yeah, it's a
it's taken on kind of like its life of its own.
Yeah,
And
it's
so,
another level of indie wrestling. It really is.
Yeah, for most people who are joining BioPro,
Yeah,
that's the reason, because the Beyond name
Yeah.
attached to it. For me, it wasn't about that. It was because it was Tom.
because of the trading.
It was Tom.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
It was
Brian
Tom,
too.
and at that point, Brian wasn't there yet. At
Yeah.
that point, it started out. It was Tom and Kenny Dykstra,
Okay.
and for whatever reason, a couple months later, Kenny went off to do his own thing separately.
Okay.
I was only training for probably less than a month before Kenny left. So, yeah, Kenny was there initially for me when I first started, but really, it's like you have to give
was all
more
Tom.
credit. It was Tom and Brian, because
Yeah.
Brian joined in pretty much right after Kenny.
I mean,
Left.
Brian Malonis is top notch.
When you think of legends in New England, he's one of the first people that should come to people's minds.
He's literally been in an indie ring with John Cena and Vince McMahon.
That's crazy, isn't it?
The only Vince McMahon indie spot was with Brian
With
Malonis.
Brian Malonis. He
The
loves
Kingpin.
that. He's talked about it a bunch.
And
He loves
he's-
that spot. That's amazing.
He's a super cool dude too. He's always been wicked cool to us.
Brian is the best.
So, and then you also have Love Doug and
We have
TJ.
Love
right?
Doug and TJ, who I think that was a few months after Brian joined in. They started coming along and just helping us out. And it started out just like, I think they just wanted the extra reps and get closer with the Beyond crew and everything, and it just kind of grew into, hey, here's these super duper dream kids here.
Right.
Why don't you go lock up with them? You know, teach them how to lock up.
Yeah.
Run some drills with them. It started out like that. It just slowly grew and grew into now, like, it's not practice without Doug and TJ there. You know, they are so instrumental, like, with our growth, with just like our mechanics in the ring.
Yeah.
I give a lot to Doug and TJ.
I mean,
they're the-
you're talking two of the best on the scene right now,
Yeah.
and with future ahead of him.
So
TJ Crawford is so smooth.
TJ is a super duper special talent, and I can't wait for the day that he breaks out.
He
and
does
goes-
certain things that I can't wait to see him do them in the ring. And one of them is his fall that he does, that deadpan fall. I absolutely love that. I've gotten so many pictures of that.
On top of TJ being such a special talent, TJ is one of the hardest working wrestlers and possibly the most passionate wrestler in
Yeah.
England. There's
Yeah.
there's a couple group of guys there who are just so beyond passionate about wrestling. You know, Dustin Waller,
Oh.
TJ Crawford. It's like you talk to them, it's like they live, like it's a mantra. You live and breathe it. They
You said Dustin
Everything.
Waller.
it's in their pores, bro.
I've literally watched that kid come from the ground up too. Where the first thing he did as an interview, he couldn't talk for nothing. Now you can't get him off of a mic. You know what I mean?
can't get a camera
he's-
out of his face.
He's super comfortable now, and it took getting to sit down with people like Fogman and Don Kincaid, those kind of guys, where it finally got him comfortable. You
Yeah.
know, and it's those kind of things that I think that
He's young, too.
the pandemic did help, was you were able to get out and do those kinds of things.
Dustin's also been around for a while. I think people kind of forget how young Dustin Waller is too.
Yeah.
I'm older than Dustin.
Yeah,
Dustin, I think
He-
he's 23 or 22. You
something
know,
like that. He started right out of high school.
so much
before
so
that.
much.
So anyway, that's a different time. But you did the being torn around by the closers,
Yeah.
you know, and there was always AJ Cruz trying to be on your side and trying to help you. I mean, talk about another guy that's doesn't hurt to learn from. You know, I mean, if he was willing to get outside of New England, he would be somewhere. You know what I mean? Someplace huge.
There was a couple of those guys at PvP, the Scotty Wilds and the AJ Cruzes. It's like hidden gems.
Yeah.
Hidden gems.
And then you got, guys that travel, 3-4 hours to come to PvP every month. Logan Black,
Logan Black and his
Chris
boys,
Benet, all those guys. I mean, whether you were trying to or not, you had to have been learning from all of these guys. or at least picking their brains in some way.
At first, probably not intentionally, but I love the
camaraderie.
Just being around it and just hearing guys call it in the back.
Yep.
And you hear the different ways that people call it, and like I was very fortunate to have guys like Brad Hollister and my brother who were also very, very good minds in wrestling too.
Right.
Who are the direct minds I'm soaking from.
Right.
And hearing how they call things and the way they work around things and their reasoning for doing things. I wasn't ever asking or prying too much. I didn't feel like that was my point. I very much felt like the little brother hanging out in the locker room, so I just kind of was quiet and just listen.
Yeah.
Just listen.
Now,
not because I was trying to learn, but just because like I was looking up to these guys.
Yeah.
My brother and his friends.
You're naming all of these names, and your name is the upgrade. Let's talk about Alex Cypher.
Yeah, let's talk about
That's where the name came from originally, yeah?
Yeah, fully.
Now, I was maybe told on the sly that was handed down to you.
That was handed down to me by Alex Cypher.
I mean, that's huge.
There was a point where Jay Tunis is fine. You need something more to it.
You need a character.
You need something, yes. And I was trying to figure that out, and there was a point, I'm sitting in the car with my brother. We're going to pick up flyers for a PvP show, and we're just bouncing nicknames back and forth, and everything just, like, too generic.
Hitting,
doesn't
falling.
work. Yeah, just, like, just miss. Nothing's quite hitting that right thing.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, how cool would it be if I could use the upgrade?
Yeah.
And he sat there, and he's like, my brother.
Yeah.
Hammer Tunis. He sat there, and he's like, that's really cool. Give me a minute. He pulls out his phone. He's like, go hang out with Cypher on Open this week. Okay. This is a point Cypher is doing backstage interviews with people at Open.
Yep.
And so I'm there and I'm hanging out. I'm talking. He just like, hey, how you feel about using the upgrade name? And I'm like, I would love that so much. There's so much to use with that too.
But it makes the first time it was said. Now I haven't been around PvP since the beginning of PvP, but I hear things and I learn things. You know, I love to know the history of this stuff, and I got to know that he was the upgrade, and then hearing you, I was like, wait a minute, and I even posed a question to somebody. I said, was that done on purpose, or is it just...
No, it was handed down.
Was it gimmick infringement? And then, that would have been dirty pool if that was gimmick infringement. But...
I have a very, very good relationship with Alex Cypher, and he is absolutely one of my mentors.
Yeah.
And I look up to him tremendously, so I thank him a lot for that.
He deserves it, too, because I've seen what he's done. You know, just from the time that we've been there, where he's come from. But... So, the first time I heard the upgrade, I'm like, it just makes so much sense. You have Hammer Tunis, and now you have the next gen.
Yep.
That's the upgrade of it.
It's next generation.
Again, the same person who kept telling you to run has been touting for a while now that you are her favorite Tunis.
Hey, hope it stays that way.
So far, so good.
So far, so good.
I'm not saying you're not mine, but I don't pick favorites.
It's fine. I don't have 16 years of history yet.
Yeah. But you've been around for well, this was their 10 year. 2018, is when I first started seeing you. You're saying you were before that.
So, I was helping out on shows with my brother before that. But really, it was like when PvP started. Now he's like, well, I kind of need a crew of guys. So, like, I got my little brother here who's willing to help and likes to help. So, just throw
You're
him
dependable that way because I can pick him up and I can bring him with me.
And I'm always going to be there.
Yeah,
too.
Because you loved it too.
Yep.
So, you started training at BioPro. Talk about a young crop of up-and-coming guys. You got Drager, Brett Metro. I know you're feuding with a few of these guys in different places, but we know what's what. You know, and that first BioPro show, and we're calling it the first one. And right now, it's the only one. But I want to see more of them.
Me too.
Because that first one was a banger, especially the main event with Matt Taven. And Drager.
So
that was amazing.
There's a little point after Open a couple of weeks ago, and I can tell Drager's probably biting his lip for me talking about this. Sorry, buddy. And And do you remember what song Matt Taven came out to?
Yeah, with the whole saxophone thing and everything.
Yeah, it was Careless Whisper, and it was a little point after open, like we tore it down and we're all getting ready to leave. And they do karaoke after open.
Yep.
And someone goes up there and
sang
starts singing Careless Whisper. We hear that opening sax, and we just all turn, look at Drager, and he's just like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
But that whole show was special
great.
To us. I love that
it
show
was
so
great.
much.
We had so much fun.
Yep.
And I mean, I've gone to a couple of different student shows because that's basically what that was a student show.
Yep.
And you had a guy like Taven come in. He didn't have to do that, but he did an excellent job working with Drager and whatever, and things went the way they went and whatever.
Things went the way they
went. And you had a great match on there, and getting to see these young talents. But then you look around the room, and there's these veterans. You got Lauren St. James announcing,
yep.
But there's Rich Palladino standing over in the corner watching her.
Yep.
And then you have Malonis walking around, and then I can't ever remember the guy who runs Beyond and all that.
That's Drew Cordero.
Yeah.
And there's Drew Cordero, and then there's Paul Crockett.
But Drew
Both of them are there.
Drew was there walking around. Crockett was there as well.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's being very well produced and put together. I want to see more of it. I want to see another BioPro show.
Me too.
Especially at that setting.
They want us there too.
The schoolyard is an amazing little setup. We were hoping to kind of do this there, but we figured it would be a little noisy.
Maybe next time.
We'll maybe figure something out.
We can figure something out there, maybe.
Because this could be a part 1. We don't know.
Who knows? Maybe. Part 2, you have to call the upgrade.
We'll see what we can do. So, doing all the training at BioPro, you've been on Open a few times now.
Yep.
You teamed with Metro, then you're feuding with Metro because he dropped the ball.
I can't get away from the guy.
But correct me if I'm wrong. Is there another promotion where you guys are a tag team as well? The tag team champions?
Me and Metro have a storied history together in the couple years that we've known each other.
Yeah.
And I love the guy, and sometimes I hate the guy.
Talk about a ball of energy, though.
Love-hate relationship. It's
yeah.
like that ball of energy gets on your nerves sometimes, though.
He's that guy.
Maybe one day I'll tell you about the time I choked him out in his front yard while he was shirtless. But that's probably behind the scenes.
That'll end up on the editing floor, maybe.
Yeah.
That'll be on the blooper reel. So, I keep mentioning that the first time I saw you, you were ringing the bell.
Yep.
There's been a handful of times. Now, I don't know if this is on purpose or if it's just the way that my mind works and that it should have been on purpose and it just happened. You've used the ring bell as a weapon.
Yes.
Was that on purpose? Was that like, hey,
for me.
For you? So it was strategic?
It's intentional in my mind.
Okay.
I was wondering if anyone else would pick that up. I kind of thought you would. I don't know if anyone else would.
I pick things up, I put them down.
It's my own little, if anything, to kind of pop myself.
So,
a little callback for myself about being the OG bellboy.
Yeah.
And it's like that same bell is the same one, too.
Yep. No, and that being said, I'm going to throw this I'm throwing it in the middle of this interview on purpose.
Okay.
I want to title this From Bell to Bell.
From the bell to bell. That's awesome.
For that reason, because you were ringing, and now you're ringing other people with that damn bell.
I rung my brother pretty good.
Yeah, you did. You rung your brother. I mean, so it's been a couple of times used, and I'm like, if that wasn't on purpose, that's the happiest accident I've ever seen.
Initially not. Initially, it was just like the first time I pulled the belt out is I may have had a little weapon hidden in my trunks here against Logan Black.
Yep.
And the belt was just kind of a little bit more of a distraction.
Yep.
And that could have been anything.
Yeah.
Like in my mind, I was like, maybe I'll grab a chair. I'll grab something. And just like the bell was there, so as I grabbed the bell, and I'm like, there's a little bit of like a story.
That
here
was a
in my
run out,
mind.
wasn't it? You ran out and you grabbed the bell. Or was that a different? That one against your brother?
That was later on. The first time I used it was against Logan Black, and I rolled out the grab.
You were smart to grab a bigger weapon than something small against Logan Black. I'm just saying. This is a man that runs around with a barbed wire wrapped chair.
Yeah,
and
but
brass
he got his
And brass knuckles.
What was I doing?
I did.
What was I doing?
Poor choices is what you were doing.
I won.
I,
So it can't be that poor of a choice. I won.
yeah, but things have a tendency of coming back, you know?
Me? No, I don't think anything's going to ever come back to bite me in the ass. I think I'm going to keep doing whatever the hell I want at PvP, and nothing's ever going to stop me.
Talk about a story that has been going on and on and on. Anybody who's watched any of our breakdown and reviews, we tout the storytelling of PvP. You've been, for now 4.5, 5 years, a center point of one of the main stories.
Yeah. All started kind of happening on an accident, too.
On an accident, and then all of a sudden you get literally dragged into the main story, and it all made sense.
And it kind of took on a different life of its own,
And
too.
You came out and we've said it, it's no secret. Tunises have a tendency of being pretty cocky.
We know how to pull that out.
And I've seen the original generation, he's pretty good at it too.
Yes.
So I see where it comes from.
Yes.
So, because you've come out and, you dress to the nines and you got this attitude of you.
Show out a little bit,
And it works. It really does. Because I think the main reason is because you make it your own and you believe it.
I have to be myself out there.
Yeah,
I can't be someone else. I've tried being someone else, like little things like mannerisms and stuff like that, where I'm like, I'm just not feeling that. And then like other times I go out there, if I'm really feeling it, I'm like, it's so easy.
Being this young guy in the business as you are, you have a unique look to you with your gear and stuff. I've commented to you about certain things before. Like I saw, is it your knee pads or whatever that got like the diamond plate look to them?
Yeah.
I dig it because it's something different. Not everybody does that. Whether it's like really diamond plate look, feel texture to it or whatever, it's still a cool look.
Yeah.
And it works with this. We're not telling any secrets. This heel persona of yours, that it has attitude.
Yeah.
The Tesla glasses that you wear.
The RoboCops?
Yeah, you can call them whatever you want them. I think you look like an electric car when you come out.
I don't have a name for them yet. Do you have any suggestions?
The only thing I got is Tesla, but I don't know. It gives you a different feel. I mean, there are people out there that do something similar or whatever. Somehow yours comes off different, and it's cool.
I think it's just because how eye-catching it is right away.
And then you do the one glove. What's with the one glove? Is there a reason? Or did you just lose the left one, or what happened?
At first, I was like, I was trying to figure out my look at a point in time, and I was just taking a bunch of different inspirations from sci-fi, and I'm going to upgrade sci-fi, futuristic, and I'm like, Anakin Skywalker.
Okay, so you're just trying to keep it kind of techie type.
Techie right now. I had some pretty specific gear in the works that I was hoping that I was gonna have for this show, but my the dude doing it is kind of a little AWOL right now.
Okay.
So like I don't know if I'm gonna be getting those, but I
think what you got going is pretty cool. I do have to say that there was a moment in the story that you and your brother were tagging together, and you both came out in similar gear, and he came out in your similar gear. He didn't have you dressed like him; he dressed like you.
Yep.
I thought that was pretty damn cool, because he didn't have to do that.
No.
He could have come out looking like Hammer.
Nope.
Or he could have come out like in the Closer's deal or whatever, but he came out dressed like similar to you, with the studded belt and the.
That was a talk we had, and that was. I can be hard. I can be kind of hard nosed sometimes. That was a talk we had. It was like, well, we got to get matching stuff.
Yeah.
Brothers, we're gonna team together. Let's get some matching stuff. We're trying to figure out our look, and I'm like, I don't know. I like my tights and my singlet and the belt. Yeah. So why don't you just do me? And he's like. Really? I'm like, yeah. So then you just it works, and
worked.
It's like
it worked.
And there is a little bit of that him trying to, relate to me more and make me more comfortable with stuff like that. He didn't
And
want
I
to get
think
me out of my
it
comfort
also
zone
is another way of bringing you up.
yet.
You know, like, well, if the vet guy is willing to,
And that's what it was really
And-
all about.
it's a cool look to it. I really dig the look,
Yeah.
and I like the little, hidden things. Like I said, the diamond plate. Is it a big deal? No, but it's just something
It's subtle.
different.
So
It's subtle. It's different. And your merch right now is the glasses to go along with your glasses. That's a cool thought right there.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. It's kind of gives it that Bret Hart feel where you got
exactly. If I'm
If-
wrestling somewhere and if I'm being that good guy there, that's
you can always hand them out. Yep. No, I'm happy to say I have a pair of them. I almost brought them with me today.
I have all of them in my car.
They're sitting right on my desk in my wrestling room. But the whole getting to work at Open and beyond, obviously they're sisters. Have you gone to Rhode Island yet? Because I don't catch the Rhode Island stuff yet.
So no, I have not wrestled on the Monday Rhode Island show yet. That's one of my goals, and I think it's gonna happen sooner than later, hopefully.
Yeah.
But no, I haven't yet. I've only been to one of those. They ran 4 times there now.
Yeah.
I've only been able to make it to one of them.
I unfortunately I don't. It happens on Monday, and
Mondays are tough.
I gotta watch my Raw.
Yeah.
There's only so many
understand.
hours in the day.
I understand. But that venue is so gorgeous.
It looks cool.
You've been in the White Eagle?
Yeah.
It's the White Eagle if
Classier.
you said it, not me.
But I love the
it's-
White Eagle.
The White Eagle has a charm to it. This
And then
is
you
white.
got-
This is classy White Eagle.
Yeah, and then
This is fancy White Eagle.
you got Electric Haze. It's a cool venue. It's gritty.
It's gritty. And
I
it's
wish it was lit
rough,
up a
and
little bit
it's-
more, but but that's a personal thing
They have a
because
little
I
bit
try to
different
take
feel
my
there.
pictures and the lighting is terrible.
Yeah.
But it works as a venue to go to. And like I said, it's gritty. It just has that feel to
Edgy feel to it.
and it works. I am super stoked to see where things go now because we do know that at the last PvP event, the 10-year anniversary, that you defeated your brother
Okay.
on his retirement match.
Yes.
And that was an emotional night just for fans. And obviously for your brother. How did it feel for you, younger brother, but upgrade, sending your brother out on his shield like that?
Not how I thought I was gonna feel.
Yeah,
Same thing with him. We talked about that a little bit.
yeah.
That was a very high stress day.
Yeah, I bet.
PvP
I bet.
10-year anniversary, biggest show ever. We're renting a ring. We never rent a ring.
Right.
Actually made it easier to rent the ring from Renegade Ring Rentals. That's T Phoenix. Shout out to him. They're awesome. That was a very stressful day, and I think everyone was kind of feeling that.
Yeah.
And so, in the moment, we probably didn't feel that moment enough afterwards immediately. But we've had those moments after, and those. It's a very surreal feeling moment. Someone you grew up watching and, looking up to.
Yeah.
Getting to send them out like that.
Yep.
It's, looking back on it, it was really trippy. It's like 16 years.
Yep. I mean, we said
I've
it.
seen more Hammer Tunis matches than any other match, probably.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. It
No
was.
more.
It was.
Because of me. And there's that weight there, too, that torch.
I mean, other than the storyline factor of it, he could have chose anybody.
I
to
think
be that last match.
I think there's a couple people it could have been and made a lot of sense.
Yep.
Bacon, AJ,
yeah.
Scotty. You could have made the argument for several people, but
But storyline driven.
that was
That was the right move.
and we knew.
And I think he really wanted it to be that way. I mean, I don't mean to speak for him. I'm just I've watched his body language and everything. I do have to say that it was an interesting little touch of yours that you could have easily just been, okay, the match is over and gone over and shook his hand. But you forcibly shook his hand and then climbing through the ropes, saluted him, turned your back, and walked the F out of the ring.
And nothing else to prove. Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Upgrade. Nothing else to prove. Yes, I could have gone up onto the ropes and started like cheering and, berating myself and celebrating.
Yep.
But I didn't need to. That was one. That's his moment.
Yep.
If I'm gonna take his career, I'll give him that one moment at the end. I'll give him a little something.
Give him a little something.
90% about me.
Yeah.
90%. I'll give him that 10% at the end.
That handshake was a big thing. Again, I like catching the little things. It wasn't just a handshake. It was the way you did it.
I didn't know I was going to do that.
You didn't know?
I didn't know I was going to do that.
Good.
Hey.
Good. I like knowing that was an on-the-fly thing.
Those moments that you catch.
Yeah.
That some people at PvP catch, I don't think all of them do, but enough do.
I think what helps...
We know about moments happening.
Yeah.
There's a lot of improv there.
Yeah.
Me and my brother, we're very good at improv.
Yeah.
And we have that, we can look at each other and be on the same page of things.
And that
and there's a lot of feeling out. Sometimes we don't know how we're going to act in those moments.
But I think a lot of that, and not just because you are brothers, but that being around it and absorbing it, where it wasn't something you were doing yet, you were just absorbing it in the background, that I think that was a better time for you to absorb it, because you're just soaking it in and soaking it in, like, all right, this is how these two guys call this match. And then you watch the match, and you're like, well, that wasn't everything they said, or whatever. And they had to adjust on the fly, or what was the reason for that? And you didn't ask that question, but I'm sure they probably discussed it or something, and you soaked that in. It's not always the before, yes. It's the after, too.
The after is oftentimes...
more important?
Not more important, but it's where you learn the most after your matches. You can if I'm sitting here and I'm wrestling Bacon.
Yeah.
And we're calling a match.
Yeah.
I'm gonna soak all that information in.
Yeah, right.
It's not until after the match, and now you can really nitpick those little things that yeah, we called it like this. It didn't work out like this, so we did it like this. And sometimes that's even better than what we had planned.
Right. And
you learn the most about working and wrestling in those aftermaths, those talks afterwards, after the matches.
That's cool. That's not something that the regular fan gets to hear. But I mean, we all know how things get done now. I mean,
the biggest company in the world is making a documentary on it.
Yeah, I mean, secrets aren't secrets anymore.
Secrets aren't secrets.
But I don't try to put out the magic of it. You were talking about the magic earlier.
Kayfabe's dead. Doesn't mean we have to stomp it and it's great.
I don't like to give away the magic, like how the things are done, but talking about where you're learning from and how you're learning it, that's different. And I mean, you've been getting an education on this since you were a child, essentially. Yeah. From some of the best, from some people that have made it to that big time. Yep. And some of them have come back.
No, I've been very lucky and very blessed with.
Being
the opportunities that I've been presented with.
When do you call your start as a professional wrestler, like year wise?
My first match. That's why I consider it.
Okay.
Some people consider it was. I was training for a year before I had my first match.
So your first match was
March 10th.
Yep.
In Ludlow, Massachusetts.
Yep.
2024.
Tagging with AJ versus the Closers.
AJ Cruz versus Hammer Tunis and Brad Hollister. Yes.
Who also had Sandra Hunting with them too.
Yes. That was a great moment.
That entire event holds a special place in my heart, but the fact that it was part of that as well.
I didn't know that was happening either.
No,
tell me that. I asked
nobody did.
I asked him afterwards too. We got in the back. I'm like, what was on your cane? What was dangling from your cane? He told me that, and I was like, that's fucking.
Yeah, no, that
that's
was
top notch of you, dude.
That was no, it was top notch of him
Yes.
to do it for me, because he could have easily said no, and I would have totally understood. But anyway, so that was your first match. So that was 24. So you're a little over a year.
14 months in.
Call it 14 months now.
14 months.
But you've got years of education, whether you knew that you were or not. I think that do you think that it puts you not a step ahead, but just like knowledge wise, picking it up once you get into training? Are you picking it up easier than you?
Yes and no. I have my things that I struggle with, and I am I'm an average athlete, I would say.
Okay.
You know, I can't do a lot of the things that a lot of these guys in the Indies can do.
Right. Well, not everybody's an Ichiban.
Not everyone's Ichiban. Not everyone's Dustin Waller. Not everyone is T.J. Crawford.
Right.
You know.
But we need an upgrade.
Not everyone's a Brad Hollister. So I have those certain things that I didn't pick up as fast as other people. But I've been told enough by the right people.
Yep.
That mentally I'm years ahead further than I should. And I don't see it that way. I'm trusting the people I'm around with their thoughts on that.
Right.
In my mind, I'm still this green kid that's like,
I mean, but you are that green kid. It's just because it's here doesn't mean you can get it out through your hands and your feet.
It's certain things. I'm not saying everything's there, but there's certain things I think I just understand.
Just because
going into things and I understand the reason why we do things, I think, better than most.
Well, I mean, you've been around, in my mind, one of the better storytellers in the area all your life. So,
and you pick up those things.
I mean, and those are the things that you need to pick up, because not everything can be trained. You can be trained how to do a hip toss. You can be trained how to do a drop kick. That doesn't necessarily mean that you can be trained how to tell a story.
No, and
in the ring,
I think that's where my strength
is. And
let me tell a story. That's all.
You know, I mean, I don't like to use terms but you're telling, you're selling, you're registering. I've seen pain on your face where it belonged on your face. Not necessarily because it was being laid in or whatever.
Most fans don't pick up on that stuff. Unlike what you're saying is the right kind of pain, when to show that pain, and how you're showing that.
I mean, there's a reason why that certain fans will boo you or cheer you, and it's because what you're telling them to do without saying, "Hey, cheer me now." You know, you got to make them feel the feels, and you
and that's the best.
You and your brother are really good at doing that, and so if that's something that he's been able to show you or you've picked up, I think I said it in our last breakdown review. With you guys like at BioPro, this next crop coming up from Test of Strength and other places, like out in Brockton and all that, the future is safe.
The future's in a great spot. Can I take a moment and shout out a couple of my boys at Bio?
Hell yeah, man.
We talked about Brett Metro. So much personality.
Yeah,
he's so explosive, and he is just what you see from Brett Metro in the ring is what you get from Brett Metro outside the ring. That's who he is, and
that's a lot.
I can't wait for the day when he starts putting some of those pieces together.
Yep.
And he's gonna off to the races.
Yeah.
Drager, we'll talk about young ring generals.
And gritty.
And rough and tough and.
I mean, we know in PvP he's working as a babyface with Metro, but he works a heel in most places. Yeah. I think that's his comfort level. Yes, it really is.
He's very comfortable there, and he's someone that watch out for Drager in a couple years specifically. Yeah. Watch out for Drager.
Handyman.
Handyman's like my little brother. Dude. I love
He's a lot of fun to watch. He really is.
He's some fun to be around too.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's like I've always been the little brother of New England. Now I feel like I have this handyman who just
you're the middle child
he's my
now.
little brother of handyman. So it's like get away from New England.
And then you got.
But I love the kids so much.
You got guys like
Jack,
Eric Chacha.
Eric Chacha, who's been around for
He's
years.
been around for a while.
Like,
I've seen him at Test of Strength.
And
a few
now
times.
he's training with us consistently, and seeing his growth the past year specifically, he's been awesome. He's going to be doing some cool things.
Is there a more natural athlete than Black Jack?
Black Jack is special.
That kid is. At first, I thought where he was as a character, in that first couple of times he debuted at Open. I was like, man, this crowd, because that crowd can be vicious. I thought they were going to eat him alive.
Buddy, there was a moment at practice, early on. He was training maybe 2-3 months, and he just picks everything up right away.
Yeah.
He picks everything up right away, and he had his first practice match probably 3 months in. And he busted out the sickest spear I have ever seen.
Yeah.
Next week, another practice match. Busts out a giant Uranagi. And we're like,
we're not even practicing that stuff
where did
yet.
this kid come from?
Yeah.
You know, and he's like, no, I'm 19. You're 19 and you're 6 foot tall, jacked like that, insane athlete. Seems to kind of get it.
Yeah.
And a good kid to be.
And then he happens to be at PvP and he fills in as a referee.
For now, he'll be around more often.
But I want to see him in the ring at PvP. Other places as well. I want to. That kid's gonna be. He's gonna blast out.
He's also a college student with a job too, and he's training with us. You know, he's gonna get out there.
Yeah,
he's gonna get out there.
No, he's one that I'm like, man, this open crowd could eat him alive if they really wanted to. But he triggered something, and it's worked. It's really worked.
That natural fire.
Yeah, he just. Plus, it doesn't hurt that he's feuding with BRG. For anybody over BRG is good in my book.
He's been put in some very lucky situations, but there's good reasons why he's been put in those lucky situations.
Let's face facts. He and I are not fans of each other, so BRG, I mean.
You know, BRG's not a fan of most people.
He's a bum.
Yeah.
He knows it.
He is.
So, this tag team championship that you have, that's just a regular tag team? It's not a 6-man, right?
No, that's a tag team championship.
But you guys use free bird rules?
It's a free bird rule.
Okay.
It's a free bird rule. My Rain Conway's another one I forgot the shout. How did I forget the shout out Ray Conway? Because Rain Conway sucks. Screw Rain Conway. Why are you even with us?
Rain, go away.
Away.
Yeah,
Did you see him get F?
He was a puddle.
Did you see him get F10'd?
Yes.
That was my favorite clip in all time. Okay. But yeah, that's just a regular tag team championship. We're the NCW tag team champions.
And where's that out of?
That is out of Dedham, Mass.
Okay.
And they run in Rhode Island sometimes too, mainly out Dedham, Mass.
Yeah.
But they're just celebrating the 28-year reunion this year.
So they were gone for a while, and
I guess anniversary rather than reunion.
Okay.
They've been around that whole time too.
Okay.
You know, and Doc Heresy is the one that got our foot in the door there, and shout out to Doc.
Doc.
He's the man.
He
I
love to boo him. I love to cheer him when he's a good guy.
He's just giving back now, and it's just it's awesome to see.
I mean, we've been shouting all of these young talents out, but think of all these veterans that have been around PvP now for a while. You got Doc, Marshall.
Dude,
if you're not learning from Doc and Marshall, you're doing something wrong.
Dude,
you're not paying attention.
It's all these people that I saw growing up that my brother was wrestling with.
And Johnny Idol,
Doc Heresy, Aaron Morrison, Scotty Wild, all these guys who are still around somehow.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised I'm at least getting to work with them behind the scenes and learn from them. You know.
Yeah. I mean, Johnny Idol is one of my favorite people. Not even in wrestling.
Johnny's awesome.
He's a good friend of mine, and I seeing him back a little bit just puts a smile on my face because I know I get to see him.
I wouldn't be surprised if me and Johnny's paths crossed at PvP at some point. within.
So you want me to hate you, is what you're saying.
I want everyone to hate me.
You want everybody to hate you. Well, there's only a couple people I know will never hate you, no matter what you do.
I'm gonna make her hate me. I'm gonna make her hate me. I'm gonna find a way.
Good luck.
I will drown kittens. I will find a way.
So,
Yeah. But yeah, that's a tag team championship there. Doc got us in there, and it was just supposed to be like a little. I think it was just supposed to be run a little program with Doc there and get some of the bio kids there, get some reps for us, and like talked about like things taking a life of its own. That's just kind of what happens with
Yeah,
wrestling.
yeah.
Like you don't realize what's gonna catch you.
you
and what's gonna
impress
stick.
somebody or something.
Something happens, and I think just like the little group of us, like we did enough to impress, and they kept bringing us back, and we got to the point where we found ourselves in that situation where we're now the tag team champions there, and like I didn't expect that to happen, like not nearly that fast.
Yeah.
I was when I saw that we're gonna be sticking around with this group, I was like, cool, let's run with this. Let's see how far we can take this group that we have here now.
So, 14 months in, and you've already held tag team champions twice, one in two different companies.
In two different promotions, yeah.
PvP and
NCW.
NCW. That's
Team
pretty
champion.
cool.
Tag team champions, though.
You gotta start somewhere, brother.
Somewhere to start.
I mean, there's a lineage championship that's up now.
There is, isn't there? Huh?
Now, what do you
There sure
consider?
is.
What do you consider your lineage now? Because you're training at BioPro. What do you consider your lineage? We know that your brother is Fuji, and
So, here's where it gets confusing. I'm trained by Thomas Santel
who
and
Brian Malonis.
And Tom also has some training with the Kowalski lineage, but
Yeah.
Tom was originally a Fuji. Whether or not he'll admit or not, Tom's a Fuji. But Brian Malonis is full-blown Kowalski.
Yeah.
So what does that make the bio kids? We get called Mudbloods, and we get
Mudbloods.
called Mudbloods by some of the boys.
Mudbloods.
And I consider myself a Fuji.
Okay.
Because Tom's the head trainer, and has been there since day one.
Yeah.
So I consider my first training from Thomas Santel and Brian Malonis.
Yeah.
So, and Tom's originally a Fuji.
Okay.
And my brother, he's a Fuji. So I've kind of embraced the Fuji lineage, but I think the bio guys can go either way, Kowalski or Fuji.
Guess it's where they feel their loyalty lies, type of thing.
I guess, yeah.
I mean, I don't know if
I don't think it's fully caught on with the bio kids yet, the lineage thing.
Yeah,
They're still
yeah.
just trying to figure out their own thing.
they're trying to figure out who they are.
who they are.
Yeah, because when they announced that they were merging the All Valley and the Fuji Cup into a lineage championship, I had said on the breakdown and review, I would like to see when they announce for those matches for the lineage cup, the lineage championship, that they announce the two combatants' lineage.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just a cool aspect of.
The way that was announced for me initially was Jay Tunis, Fuji, and Kowalski lineage. So I think it probably counts for however.
And
one thing went
that's fair.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong. I mean, it's not a knock on either side, and you're embracing both of them.
What great lineages to be a part of, right?
I'm a Kowalski guy.
Best.
I'm
no.
a Fuji guy.
Oh no, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very lucky.
Just a little footnote. I was almost a Kowalski guy.
Did you almost start training at one point?
When I was
You almost went to chaotic.
in high school. No, I almost went to Kowalski's school.
Yeah. That's the New England Pro Wrestling Academy. That's chaotic.
But this was back in '93. You weren't even a twinkle.
Wow. Why didn't you?
My parents had no money.
I understand.
No
It's expensive.
money. Absolutely no
It's
money.
expensive, and
I still have the business card
oh, that's really cool.
because it was handed out at an indie show at my high school.
Oh, that's so cool.
So I have it because my mom kept it. But
That's
anyway, that's a tangent.
What could have been, man? The Crusher, Eric Hunting. What
Crusher?
would have been your name?
Yeah. I don't know. I had a few when I was playing around in my backyard. You hear about wrestlers. Oh, well, we used to backyard wrestle.
Yep.
Yeah, I backyard wrestled myself.
Yeah.
I was the heel. I was the baby face. I was the ring
the
character.
characters, all
I was
the
the
characters.
commentators.
There you go.
I commentated my own matches.
And that's
I ran into trees.
You wrestled trees?
No, I ran into them like they were the ring posts.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Because there's give to a tree.
Absolutely. No, that's fun.
But
You know what? My original name was the Iron Man.
the Iron Man, Jay Tunis.
Jason the Iron Man Tunis. That's what it was when I was wrestling in the living room with my brother when I was really little.
Well, I think you landed on a good one, being the upgrade.
Yeah, probably better than Iron Man.
J.Tunis.org. Listen.
The upgrade, https://www.j.tunis.org. It's a nonprofit.
It's a nonprofit, but he'll take your money.
Yes, please.
So,
Nonprofit.
I think we're about ready to wrap it all up. What's on the horizon for upgrade? What's coming up?
I got NCW coming up in a couple weeks. I think that is May 16th. Let me double check on that one. But yeah, NCW there. That's the 28-year reunion. Future Shock will be defending the Tag Team Championship against Davey Cash and Cash Money, and hopefully walking out with the W there. We have on May 10th, PvP will be returning to Mesquamicut for their they do a fair there.
That's not just a regular show, though, right?
No, that's being treated more like a house show, I would say.
When's the next show
the next
for
PvP?
PvP?
So we have the Blitzkrieg one that's going to be announced shortly.
Oh.
I hope I didn't just spoil that. It's probably announced. Everyone knows about it. PvP is going to be running with Blitzkrieg back at South End in June.
Okay.
And then we have another, I think the plan is going to be a back-to-back show. A Saturday for Blitzkrieg PvP and then Sunday PvP in East Hampton.
These guys are killing me.
I know.
They think I'm made of money.
Hey. This is just what I'm hearing from the grapevine. I don't know.
Are we going to see you in Open again anytime soon?
I think you're going to probably see me either this week or next week.
All right.
I'm going to be around there.
I get home from work, and as soon as I'm ready to sit down, I put on IWTV and I watch Wrestling Open on Thursdays.
So it was kind of announced that I'm going to be wrestling Metro again this week, but I haven't gotten any confirmation about that. So
he says wrestling. He's going to beat the ever shit out of him.
That's all I do. I don't know how to wrestle. You've seen me wrestle. All I do is throw punches and kicks. That's all I know. That's all I need to do. Grab a hold, you fight out of him, I'm just going to give you a punch.
So, I mean, that's pretty much the future of what you got coming up. And I got to tell you, I've said it a million times on my breakdowns. I'm super proud of where you come from, where you are now.
Appreciate that.
I really am. I mean, we've seen a lot of guys come up. I mean, for what my opinion is worth, you can tell you've put in the work. You haven't been given anything. You may have been put in positions, but you've made it work. If it didn't work, you wouldn't have been staying in those positions.
My goal is to make the most out of what I'm given and to always try and make a moment.
I mean, like I said, I'm super proud of you. I know, and this is super proud of you. She is your top fan. I'm
gonna make her happy.
There's not many people that are gonna be in front of her.
Okay, so what happens if I wrestle Chris Benet?
Well, you got to ask her that question. I am not speaking for her, because
okay,
and
I'm gonna put that to the test.
That's a loaded question.
It's
too.
A very loaded one.
Because what's gonna happen? I listen, brother. I may have just said that I'm proud of you. You're going to eat a chokeslam hardcore from that bastard.
Look, Chris Benet's in that main event picture right now.
Yeah,
he's just PvP champion. Maybe you mentioned the Lineage Championship. Maybe I want to skip ahead. Maybe I want to go for those top crop of guys. Well, maybe I have some grudges to take care of. I don't know.
Some people did push you around while you were refereeing.
Probably several did. Who are you mentioning? Are we talking about Bacon? Who are you talking about here?
Well, quite a few people.
Quite a few people here.
Yeah, because you didn't just referee your brother's matches. You refereed a few matches, and people took advantage of a young Jay Tunis before he upgraded.
I have a couple receipts to give out.
I would think so.
Well, what do you think I'm going to be doing? If you had to guess, what is the upgrade?
Like, where do you go now after retiring?
Where do you think?
After retiring your brother?
Where do you think I'm going? I know where I'm going. I'm not going to tell you where I'm going to go.
I mean, I like the gusto of go straight to the top. But I'm
Oh,
big.
you don't think I'm ready for that? That's what you're saying,
Not,
huh?
let me finish.
I just main evented PvP's 10-year anniversary, and you don't think I'm ready for that yet?
Did not say that, did I? I said work your way up to. Okay, make it worth it. We just got done saying that you guys are good at the storytelling. You jump right to the end of the book. What's the sense of watching it? No. Work your way up. You've already done tag team. We know you can do the tag team thing. Go to the lineage. Okay? See what's there. See who you got. I mean, who's holding that right now?
Right now, Dustin Waller is. And Dustin kind of embarrassed me a little bit.
So there's your
thing. So talk about receipts.
So
might be a little 2 for 1 there, you know?
You know, there's nothing wrong with seeing you and Flash go at it. You know, we said, you know, Ichiban has been around quite a bit. Could you, do you think you're ready to face a Ichiban?
Ichiban? Oh man,
that kid can
talk
move.
about special. He's bounces around.
He is special.
He's gonna blow me up in 2 minutes.
Well,
you know,
you gotta be ready for it.
Gotta be ready for that.
I mean, am I?
Are you asking me if I'm ready for that? I think.
You make yourself ready for that?
I think I can make myself ready for anything.
What about pulling somebody out of retirement, maybe facing Aaron Morrison? I mean,
hey, look, if he's ever wants to wipe the dust off his shoulders, if he ever wants to lace up those boots that have been sitting in the attic for however many years.
Ouch.
Like,
shots thrown.
Not even shots thrown.
Fired.
It's reality. It's not even shots. When was the last time you stepped foot in a ring?
A couple years ago.
You're not wrong.
I'm not wrong.
When's the last time he laced up a pair of boots? I pretty much live in my boots. Pretty much live in my boots, okay? If he wants to come up and like try challenge me, if he wants some of this, fine. He can have some of it. I don't really care. Like, my lineage is set. If I have to beat up another old man, I will. If I have to beat up Johnny Idol, I will.
Hey,
if I have to beat up AJ Cruz, I will. I don't care.
Okay.
I don't care about these old guys. You mentioned bringing these old guys out of retirement.
Okay. All right.
Nothing pisses me off more than them, okay?
Okay.
I want them gone.
Okay. Off of those guys, what about a Pedro Donis? There's a test of your metal right there, isn't there?
He also has a little sure shot contract on
He's got
too,
the sure shot now.
We talk about making myself ready. That sure shot sounds kind of nice, doesn't it?
I mean, you think he's going to put the sure shot up for...
Was he a coward?
No, but he's got a sure shot at the champion. Why would you give that? Even think about giving that away? You wouldn't.
Me? No. Hell no.
All right, then.
I'm not an idiot.
So then why would he?
Because he's an idiot.
Why would he? No, he's an idiot. Okay.
Maybe.
What about a Lucas Chase?
You're just pitching me against these guys that like are a lot bigger than me.
And are you ready or are you not ready?
I am ready for anything, Eric.
There's a guy that likes to swing a kendo stick around, and that's one infamous Ryan Frost.
I think you just want to see me get my ass kicked.
I want to see you not get your ass kicked. You need to be able to come up. Are you upgrade or are you downgrade?
I'm the upgrade.
All right then, you got to work your way through these guys. These are all guys that are standing in front of you.
Are they?
You're saying?
Hey. Are they in front of me though?
Are
they in front of me though?
Are things being handed to you, or do you have to work for them? You got to work for them.
Depends who you ask.
I'm asking you.
I think I think I have earned everything that I have. In some ways, people won't fully understand because, like, I've had these talks with my brother. Like, we talked about that first tag team championship I've had, and how that felt.
Yeah.
For me, it didn't feel the same for him as it felt for me. That was that moment I felt like I was handed that one a little bit, you know?
Okay.
But I've had enough people remind me over time about all of the years of ring crew and the fact I've just been around it and like ask for nothing. You know, I was there to help and pay my dues just because I like doing it.
Yep.
And I get reminded by that enough where like I don't have that. I don't have as much of that imposter syndrome anymore. Where I feel pretty confident right now, and I can't wait to see what the future's going to hold.
I'm here for it. I'm here for the future.
Let's go. I hope you're there the whole way.
And I can't wait to see what's next. And you know, I think the future is bright in independent professional wrestling in the New England area. I really do, because I see the guys that you're coming up with, and you know, that are around the area. I think there's enough of those. All joking aside, all these veteran guys teaching these young guys the ways, and I think there's enough of the right ones around.
I agree.
I don't know the information that's being given out, but I don't see a whole lot of bad information or steering wrong being put out there.
I think at PvP more than other promotions in the back, there's a lot more future building there than most other places.
And I think you have the right training going on. Where you're training at BioPro, I mean, you're talking about two of the best head trainers, and then the next, I don't know, co-trainers, whatever you want to call them, and TJ and Love Dog and those guys.
Everyone sees how sporadically, we have a Fancy Clancy come in, we have a BRG come in. Ricky Shane Page is someone that's around a lot,
That's huge.
Drew Gulak's popped in a few times, we have some pretty serious, who's of at least New England that, we're getting to learn from.
If you're not learning from that, that's on, not you.
Yeah.
But if there's a student there that's not learning from that, that's on them.
Oh, my God.
Then they shouldn't be doing it. Because
we're being handed the keys of the kingdom.
I'm.
We're taught how to unlock the door. Let's go find the door.
That's
Let's
it.
go walk.
That's it. Hold on to those keys and just go right through it.
We're very lucky. The door's being pushed open for us. It's on us to walk through it, though.
I mean, Beyond is giving you guys a great platform with Open in 2 different locations and the sporadic Beyond shows.
On top of...
And then you're able to get out.
Their online audience, too, and how many people are watching that stuff online, and who is watching that stuff online, too. You know, it's...
I mean, who's to say that they don't do another crop of IDs and who's on that next list? There's some...
Look at all the ID guys that were there. You're talking Bryce Donovan, Gall, Zeta Steele, Marcus Mathers. All guys you see pretty regularly on Wrestling Open every week.
Yeah.
Where do you think some of these guys got discovered?
Yep.
And we're at the school of that promotion being built up to be the future of that promotion, too. So we are very aware of how lucky we are and very grateful of it. And I'm so excited to see what that future is going to hold.
Good. I think that's a good place to call it. I think this was fun. I had a lot of fun.
This is great.
I think we covered all the grounds. So again, this is Eric Hunting from Parts Unknown with my very special guest, the Upgrade Tunis.org.
Can you say the whole?
I don't do the whole HTTP.
Here, I'll do it again for you a third time. Get this through your head. Ready? https://www.j.tunis.org. It's a nonprofit. By the way, my nickname is The Upgrade.
Thank you again, and we'll see you at the matches.